What is up, guys? And I'm NarendraTheComic, and right now we're just going to be talking about some lesser known Marvel characters that I think should, well, get their own label essentially in the Marvel film universe. Now, I'm not talking about the MCU. I don't think these characters will be in the MCU, but maybe their own separate MCU. Obviously, there's this grand plan at Marvel saying we've got films up to 2028 planned. Bit ridiculous. It's pretty mind-boggling. They have everything stored and compartmentalized, and they've already got storyboarding done for a decade later, but I suppose that's how we got to where we are now. So I guess keep doing it until it stops making you money. But there are some characters that I think wouldn't really fit into the MCU age range wise, like maybe there'd be a 15 or 18, and that definitely doesn't fit with the child-friendly nature of the MCU. I think they could have potentially their own brand of films, completely separate and disconnected. The characters I'm talking about are people like Ghost Rider, who I know he's been sort of in the MCU, I guess a little bit, but also not, because the TV universe is sort of connected and disconnected to the real MCU. It's sort of like, I don't know if it was Kevin Feige who said this, or Joss Whedon, but they said it was something like a parallel universe. Like, it's not necessarily part of the MCU, it's like its own mini thing, the stuff they do on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if you don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then maybe you do. It's a decent show. It's really improved a lot from season 1 and 2. Like, it's actually been on an upward trajectory from season 1. Season 1 was really not good at all. And ever since then, it's just got better and better and better with basically every season, which is hard to say with a superhero show, any show in general. The last season was a bit fluff, but every other season apart from the last one was been pretty damn good. Ghost Rider was in there, and they did taper him a little bit. I don't think he's someone they would make a film out of in the MCU, so I think he would fit into this alternative brand pretty well, along with someone like Blade. Now, Blade is a long historical character, one of the first superhero films that actually made a lot of money, a moderate amount of money, that was profitable, we'll say that. In the late 90s, 98, it's basically sort of started off this whole superhero thing along with the original Spider-Man and X-Men. And he's a character that hasn't really got his due. And the reason why is you have to make it R-rated. You can't put Blade in the MCU. Like, it will not work. There is no way. So he definitely fits in this alternative brand with someone like Ghost Rider. I know the vampire trend sort of died out 3-4 years ago, but vampire killers, that's a different market. That's a different market. Then there are others like Man-Thing or Conan the Barbarian. I mean, you could make a pretty good, I think Conan could maybe be even part of the MCU, but I think he would maybe fit better in a world with Ghost Rider. If they had an interconnected universe there, I think some of these characters could really meld well together. And when you chuck someone like Moon Knight in there as well, that would be sick. I know there were plans maybe to include Moon Knight in Daredevil season 3. I'm glad they didn't do it, because I think he could definitely have his own film. The thing is, it could really be a built-out world like the MCU, but with lesser-known, darker characters. Someone like Namor maybe could be in this as opposed to the MCU. I do think he could be a great hero in the MCU, or even a straight-up villain for the Avengers. Maybe they would put him there. I don't know if they have the rights to him back yet. Maybe they do and they're just keeping it under wraps. But I think he could potentially be in either or. I'd probably lean to him being in the MCU though, just because of the history of the character. And as I said, I think that the key to these types of smaller films would be definitely keeping the budget low. Instead of slapping 150 million or 200 million dollars on a film, give it 50 and see where it goes. I know that the probably counter to that is, well, yeah, it's costing less money to do it, but then, I mean, the profit margin is going to be less, and you're removing capital from the company to do something else with it. You have to go into production and all these things. It means there's less things to do on other things, which could potentially make more money and make hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. Because even something like Ant-Man probably made like $100 million in profit at the end of the day. Whereas I don't think a Man-Thing film would do that. It would be cool to see, and I'd love to see it, but I don't think it would make $100 million profit. No. And you could definitely do a lower budget film with a Moon Knight, with a Blade. I think you'd have struggled doing it with a Man-Thing or a Ghost Rider because you don't want to cheap out on special effects. But I think there are particular situations here where you'd be able to make it work. With the Conan the Barbarian, I think you could do it as well. So I don't think anyone should shut the door on this idea of making an alternative universe to the MCU where there are darker characters. You could call it like Marvel Knights. I wrote a couple down, give me a sec. Marvel Knights, Marvel Dark World. Unfortunately, obviously, Thor the Dark World sort of ruined it with that one. I think that would be probably the best name out of all the ones I wrote down. Marvel Black Knight, which is okay, I guess. Marvel Dark, a bit shit. Marvel Black, meh. Marvel Dusk. Marvel Obsidian, you know, obviously. Had to chuck that one in there. Or Marvel Shadows. Now, I'd probably say Marvel Shadows or Marvel Dark World are probably the better ones, especially with Venom coming out. I think the tracking for that has increased a lot over the last couple of weeks. So this idea of an anti-hero film could be a successful, viable option, especially with Deadpool coming out and doing as much money as it did. So I think maybe this idea of anti-hero or dark side of a hero could be a trend if Venom does well. And if they do, and if something like the Joker film, which DC are doing, which is completely separate to the DCEU, if that does well as well, I think that they might look at doing a sister universe to the MCU with darker characters, which could only be a good thing as long as they manage it right and don't funnel too much money into it, because you just have to be honest. Ghost Rider was attempted and it failed. Yep, it completely bombed. The first one probably lost money. I don't think it probably broke even. I think it lost so much money because, I mean, Sony really botched the budget for the second film. They cut the budget in half and you could see, I remember watching the second Ghost Rider film and I was like, wow, the special effects have got even worse. They were okay in the first one, I think, but the second one, they just seemed worse. And well, they cut the budget in half and neither of the films turned a profit. It makes me think that Marvel will not touch this character unless they give it a small budget. Believe me, if you do a Moon Knight film and it's done well, it will make money. I think that could be a really cool idea. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then Moon Knight himself is gonna come after you. Mark Spector, my lad. He will destroy you, and you don't want that. You really know, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. Now, I've been NarendraTheComic. You have been great, and I'll see you next time. Skadoosh.